Welcome to the Hello Seattle podcast, a local perspective on living in and moving to Seattle.
Yeah, we're excited to introduce you to people, places, and communities that make living in our hometown special. Hello, Seattle. I'm your host, Dan Keller.
And I'm your host, McDonald, and we're excited to talk about another one of Shoreline's favorite neighborhoods today. What are we talking about here today, Dan?
Well, some pronounce it Innis Arden, some pronounce it
Innis Arden. It is Innis Arden.
Is it
I think
Innis?
if we're trying to be correct.
I think Innis Arden's a beautiful community. It's right above Richmond Beach, where I live. We've talked about that before on the podcast, but I spent a lot of time out on the Puget Sound fishing for salmon and crabbing out there, and it's absolutely gorgeous from the water.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great planned community. So, talking about it's just south of Richmond Beach along the water, and it extends all the way up in parts to 8th Avenue, which is bordering a different neighborhood. So we got the Richmond Highlands is the neighborhood over to the east. It's one of those four corners neighborhoods. So Shoreline has four different neighborhoods that are coming together in this spot, and Innis Arden is the next neighborhood there.
So would you go as far as saying that Innis Arden and the Highlands are probably the two most affluent neighborhoods in Shoreline?
Yeah, I think the Highlands would be number one, and also a planned community, gated community right by the Seattle Golf Course. And then you've got the Innis Arden community, not gated, but very exclusive based on price mainly at this point. So
let's talk about it. So the reason for the pricing, for example, a lot of water view.
Yeah, and a lot
lots.
of covenants too, neighborhood covenants to protect views. Okay. So this neighborhood's all about views and the HOA covenants. So if you're somebody that doesn't like to have rules, this is probably not the community for you. If you want your neighborhood to look like everybody's got landscaping service and there's not boats parked in the front yard and you've got beautiful views everywhere, this is more of the neighborhood for you. And there's lots going for it, right? You have a planned community. Most of the neighborhoods in Shoreline are not planned out this way.
Okay.
So you have a neighborhood community center, you've got the clubhouse, you've got a tennis court and tennis lessons, you've got a swimming club and swimming lessons, you've got a neighborhood park and basketball court. I mean, it's pretty sweet. Yeah. All the different amenities. Yeah. There's hiking trails in the community and even a private beach. So there's lots going for it. But again, we mentioned that does come with some of the downsides where you have some more of the rules and regulations. And so if you want all of these types of things and you like the planned community, then Innis Arden's a great spot. And I think most known for its views, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. That you have a full, what would you say, 180? Almost a 180, I think
from most of the, not all of the homes have views.
Right.
But a large majority of the homes, especially higher up, have the views. And they're having a 180 view of the Olympics. Oh, yeah. The sunsets every night. It's kind of like Richmond Beach in a sense. There might even be more houses in Richmond Beach with a view. Yeah. How it's all plays out. But pretty much the same exact spot on the map, just slightly south for Innis Arden.
Love it.
I think when we're thinking about the neighborhood here, price point wise, we've been talking about that a little bit in the other videos. This, as you mentioned, is one of the more expensive neighborhoods to buy a home in. We're looking at more the $2 to $4 million range. There's occasionally an older house, outdated. Maybe it's listed in the upper ones. And then you've got plenty of houses that are selling well over that $3 to $4 million range. Yeah. Median sales price is in that 2.5 range for the neighborhood. Averages as well. Very expensive. Okay. Well above our $1 million median sales price for Shoreline, right? So you're more than 2x what it costs to live in Shoreline in general. And this neighborhood's one of those places pulling up those numbers. Yeah. But as far as like for people wanting to live in the neighborhood, what do those numbers look like? That's your specialty. Make sure you say your MLO number, Dan.
I am gonna let's go over some financing numbers, like what it would cost to actually live here. I did a little research on this too. So you got to think when you're elevating the price point into the $2.5 to $3 million mark, the general rule of thumb is that she would put down a minimum of 20%. The reality of it is most people buying in Innis Arden have sold a previous house, possibly, or they're affluent, they're putting down more than 20%. So on $2.5 million, 20% is 500 grand, right? They're putting down more, but for the sake of this discussion, and I did look up some numbers. The average down payment in the last 12 months in Innis Arden was approximately 20 to 25%. I don't know how accurate that is. ChatGPT was somewhat helpful, but I'm pretty sure it's
hard to find good data for that.
Yeah, there's people paying cash for some of these houses, and there's people financing. But for the most part, I believe they're putting down a little bit more than 20%. But these numbers, we used what Zach just said. So let's just use the purchase price of $2.5 million, and you're going to put down 20%. You're going to have a total monthly mortgage payment of just under $15,000 a month. Now that's with today's interest rates, right in the middle sixes. And so because I am talking about this, I do need to say my Washington State mortgage loan origination ID. So it's MLO115349. Okay, so this is not a rate quote. This is just kind of an average of 30-year fixed rate, jumbo 30-year fixed rates. You're going to have a total monthly mortgage payment of right around $15,000 a month. I'm going to throw in an extra $1,000 a month in kind of like residual monthly debt, car loans. It could be higher, it could be lower. You're going to need approximately a total household income of about $39,000 a month to purchase an Innis Arden, and that is equivalent to about a $470,000 a year total household income. So the people living in Innis Arden are making about $500,000 a year in income.
Yeah,
typically.
This is well above, as we said, the median income for the area and also the median home price.
Yeah. And remember, these are estimates based on 20% down. We always say this on the podcast. Like, if you're interested in having some numbers ran at, 30% down or 40% down with a different price point, just reach out to us. We don't have to pull your credit to get you that information, but it's it definitely is helpful to know.
Yeah, I mean, these are the 2025 prices too, right? This is a neighborhood where historically you just see prices continuing to go up over time. Of course, there's the market blips that everybody experiences as the economy and the housing market is not always straight up on the charts. But Innis Arden's one of those neighborhoods that's continually been desirable over the years. And we are flipping this a little bit with some of the location things, but let's talk about the schools in Innis Arden. So you have the same schools as you have for Richmond Beach, all A's on the niche.com rating. You have the Syrie Elementary School, Einstein Middle School, and you have Shorewood High School. And you also have the Kings option. There's quite a few, at least from the people that I know in Innis Arden. A lot of them are Kings families, like our family, sending their kids to Kings. And maybe that's why I know those specific families, right? More often than not, they're going to the public schools. The public schools, as we've talked about, are in the top 10 school districts in the state. So Shoreline School District is a great school district. Depending on which website you go to, they have different ratings. But overall, great public schools. You have the same locational benefits living in Innis Arden that you have in Hillwood and Richmond Beach. You have the shopping center right there, right? You have the shops at Richmond Beach there, the QFC. You have access down to Richmond Beach Park, as you were talking about, as one of your favorite parts of this section of Shoreline. You also have the different restaurants down there in Richmond Beach, plus easy access to I-5 and Highway 99 and all the shopping out there at 185th. There's the Fred Meyer, and you've got the Costco on 205th. So, I mean, locationally, again, just super convenient, and also close to Seattle. Yeah,
you mentioned, too, I want to make sure I heard you right, that Innis Arden's a part of the Four Corners intersection community, right? So what are the four? You've got Innis Arden, Richmond Beach, right?
Yeah, and then we have the Hillwood and then Richmond Highlands.
And the Highlands. Okay.
Yep. Not the Highlands, the Richmond Highlands. Not to be confused with the Highlands. We'll talk about that neighborhood in a different episode. But you also have the access to Edmonds. And that was something we talked about as well. Super, super close to downtown Edmonds. So you can quickly get to the waterfront,
Yep.
or, I mean, I think Richmond Beach is more convenient, but some people prefer the Edmonds waterfront and some of the restaurants and shops down there.
Yeah. And we mentioned this earlier on a previous podcast too, that you're not too far away from Ballard as well. So it's a great community, whether you're heading south or whether you're heading north.
Yeah. And I think just a little history lesson. We again flipped some of the episode here just for fun, mixing it up. But the Boeing family originally platted this all out and developed this.
That's cool.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Back in the 40s, used to be all timberland, was logged, and then they purchased it and designed this community and sold off all the lots. So there's a few different communities in Seattle like that, but this is the Shoreline version of that. So a little bit of fun backstory here, and then just thinking about like who would want to live in Innis Arden. We talked a little bit about that, but just from your perspective, who are those people that are maybe interested in this community?
Well, I think there are a little bit, a lot of homes in the community, Innis Arden community, have been remodeled, right? So I think they're maybe a little bit more modern, a little bit more updated. Number one. Number two, I think they're larger homes.
Yep.
Number three, they've got, the luxury of having a view. You pay a little bit of extra money for that, especially in King County. A westerly facing view, which is sunsets, mountains, water. So, and then we just talked about this. It's convenient. You're, 5 to 10 minutes from I-5. You're 5 to 10 minutes from downtown Edmonds. You're walking distance to coffee or to have a dinner, at a couple of different restaurants. So, just the location, I think proximity is big, but there's some nice houses up there. I've gone through there a few times with friends, and we have a couple friends that live up there. You mentioned Kings. There's some Kings families that live in there, and our kids go to Kings, and so dropping them off at birthday parties or whatever. So you get to drive through there. I haven't spent a ton of time driving all the way through. I've been in there a few times, but when I have gone in there, a lot of mid-century modern, lot of, and then remodeled houses, bigger houses, but the lots, what stood out to me was the lot size.
Well, a lot of the houses were built in that same general time frame, right?
Yeah.
Late 40s, early 50s. So that's the majority of the houses are going to have, unless they've been torn down and there's been some new houses built. I think I'll add even to that who would live there. I think you've got the covenants. So in a lot of ways, it's like Richmond Beach. Little newer houses, different style of houses, right? Richmond Beach was a lot, I would say, older, some of the original houses. But you have the continuity.
Yeah.
And everything looks more homogeneous in the Innis Arden neighborhood. So if you like that neighborhood feel versus lots of different types of houses all next to each other, which is more the style that you'd get in Richmond Beach, that's where I think the appeal is for Innis Arden. And also the nature lovers, if you like to go for walks and, go on the trails, you have that as part of the community built in. And I think even though we've talked about how involved Richmond Beach is as a neighborhood, and Hillwood has some cool things going for it, Innis Arden, I would argue, is one of the more involved communities in Shoreline because of the clubhouse and the pool, and you're really pulling everybody together for those different activities and also the different neighborhood events.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I encourage you, if you want to learn more about Innis Arden, reach out to Zach. There's a lot to learn. I learned today about Boeing. I had no idea that Boeing, the ownership, originally developed the Innis Arden neighborhood. That's crazy.
You also didn't know they had a baseball team back in the day either.
I did not know that either. Yeah, this is neat, but it's a great community, beautiful homes, beautiful views. So if you're making $500,000 a year, you got a good amount of money to put down. This could be a community for you.
Yeah, and it's not normally someone's first house.
Right.
It's normally like the dream house, the house you live in for a long time. You don't have as much turnover in this neighborhood. A lot of people are, it's their last house.
Right. I think you were pulling up some data earlier. Year to date, there's been only 4 sales. I think was that some of the numbers that you pulled up?
Well, there's been 7 closings over the last 180 days. So not a lot of turnover in the neighborhood.
Not a lot of turnover. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty normal.
Yeah.
You're not going to see maybe in a given year 15 to 20 sales in the neighborhood, but there's significantly more houses than that. So pretty low turnover. Again, these are people's last house in a lot of ways, unless they relocate or move away. So the last thing that I will say is I love running through this neighborhood. So even if you don't live in this neighborhood, if you live close to it, you can run through us. This is my regular jogging route. Occasionally I run on the trails. Don't tell anybody.
Some bonker hills in that neighborhood, yeah?
Yeah, especially if you go on the trails, which supposedly are just for residents. So I'm sorry. I apologize. But I love Innis Arden.
Maybe you're a future resident. You're checking it out.
It's possible. Yeah, exploring. How do you want to try before you buy, right?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, you can get memberships there are a few memberships available for people that don't live in the community to get into the pool.
That's cool.
Things like that. So, there's opportunities to try before you buy.
Yeah.
It's also having friends in there. You can enjoy the view, get to see it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm jogging over to my friend's house.
There you go. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. If you guys have questions, as Dan said, about Shoreline in general, Innis Arden in specific, we'd love to be a resource for you. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye, Shoreline.